Barai. Again, because he's well grounded, right? He's been one of the innovators. A lot of people would know CISO platform, right? Where he was running that platform very successfully. But I remember, I don't have to introduce, I let Bikash introduce. So Bikash, over to you.
I'm one of the co-founders of FireCompass. Built a few cybersecurity product companies early on. Another called IBIS into automated application security testing, which got acquired. Now it is part of Synopsys. Now automating red teaming, continuous automated red teaming at FireCompass.
We've spoken, about the evolution, right? But let's also gaze into the future in terms of, what do you feel, right, from a technology perspective, right? Shift left, right, continuous assessments, all of them are buzzwords, right? AI, MDR, XDR, right? Even we hear a lot of it. According to you, right, what are the trends, right? Or what is it that CISOs should be watching out for, right? So can you just put some more insights there?
Sure. Thanks. So, I think on the business side, Vishal made a great, interesting point. We had a preparation session before, and that was a very interesting insight that he mentioned democratizing. You did not use the word here. I found that very interesting. Like, how do you kind of distribute your vision or your mission to everybody within the organization? That's very, very hard. I remember a parable that the saint points at the moon and the followers looks at his finger. Some worships the finger, some would debate the finger, some says, yesterday the finger was 30 degrees, today it's 60 degrees. That guy is out of his mind. So very few get the moon. So it's very hard to kind of do that. And I never thought that as a CISO role that is the next thing and not like the normal business enabler thing. I absolutely agree on that. It's a very hard problem which you face as a leader, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur. Okay, back to this. Like on the technology side, so I'll not talk much about the business side. On the technology side, there are two things which I wanted to talk about. So I personally like looking into like what's the major tectonic shift, major big shifts happening, like underlying shifts which will influence everything else. And if you look at those, there are two things which I'm noticing in the cybersecurity field, which is going to come in many different avatars. You will not always find it very apparent that this new technology is basically nothing but underlying theme of movement is exactly that one. So what are some common themes which are going to drive and manifest in many different ways in the industry? So one thing is things becoming continuous. And what do I mean by that? And it's very difficult to understand, like many of the things which you see today are basically an effort to become continuous. I'll give you an example. Like the word zero trust is, I believe, a misnomer. It's a very bad naming from my perspective, and I'll tell you the reason, because people get it wrong. Zero trust doesn't really mean zero trust. What means is continuous evaluation of trust. What you are essentially doing is, you are saying that I have kind of assigned a trust value, but I'm going to continuously evaluate the trust value. It is not having zero trust. It is having continuous trust evaluation. So zero trust is in effect a kind of movement when it comes to continuous. Now if you look at what are the other places it is happening? It is happening in many places. Like Gartner came up with some word, CTAM and something like that we were discussing. That's also kind of part of that continuous movement. And why is this continuous movement happening? The reason is the attackers have become very sophisticated. They are doing continuous attacks. They are able to attack the entire internet on a daily basis, or 4 billion IP addresses. They have got the capability to do that without using AI today. They don't use AI. Without that, they're able to do that, whereas we do pen test on 5% or 10% of our assets once a year or quarterly. How will you fight with them? So that means even this has to become continuous. So personally, I believe in that, and that is one reason in my day job as an entrepreneur, we are trying to do continuous pen testing or continuous red teaming. But it's not just in that. There will be, in every aspect of cybersecurity, you will see these things continuous coming up. Like in case of trust, in case of identity, in case of SOC, SIEM, every aspect, things are becoming continuous. it cannot be point in time. So if you look at, we are transitioning from the age of still camera to video camera. Still camera was point in time, right? Earlier SOC was what? Once a week you get a report. Today it is continuous alert. The future of pen testing is also going to be like that. The future of trust is also like that, because zero trust is nothing but what it essentially means is this. So security is going to become continuous. So this is a major theme. I like going around in RSA and look at all these booths and these new products and technologies coming up. I have seen this theme across. Now there is a second theme which I have noticed, which is a very interesting theme, which is I'm a slightly different believer when it comes to AI. So I was more like Prateek earlier. So whenever I looked at any AI talk a couple of years back, almost always, if you go deep into, it's a Bayesian classifier. I have studied AI in my IIT days like a couple of decades back. So I was never really impressed with AI because it looked like to me exactly what you mentioned. It's a marketing gimmick. Now let me tell you something. This time when I went to the Silicon Valley, we have our investors over there. I have a lot of friends who are in Google, Facebook, etc. Brightest of the minds now selling ads. They know us way better than we know ourselves. We spoke about self-awareness, right? These guys have much better awareness of us. Now, having peeked into what's happening in AI, I can tell you one thing, that it is going to be much more intelligent than an average human being in their field. Are they going to replace? Absolutely, they are going to replace average human beings.
But they are going to retire in 2 years.
So, this is my belief that in the near future, government has to step in with regulations. Otherwise, there will be so much of job loss. Okay, and what kind of regulations may come up? One idea which I have is like reduce the working hours. Like during the days of industrial revolution, people used to work way longer, right? Then I think in France, like you can't work more than X number of hours. So unless government brings in those kind of things, jobs will not be distributed. So I can more or less have 99% or almost 100% kind of confidence that this is going to happen. AI is going to replace average human beings in case of legal aspects. Even today, right now, AI can do better job than an average lawyer in the US. Okay, and they are lot faster. So AI is going to replace average humans, and it's going to also happen in cybersecurity. And what you see in ChatGPT is the tip of the iceberg. That's nothing. Like that ChatGPT is a very small part of it. What you are seeing just a manifestation of a small thing. In order to understand that, you have to go deeper into the GPTs and other forms of AI which is being developed right now, and that thing is going to completely change the world. So I'm not kind of creating a doomsday picture here. What I'm saying is it's going to get transformed. Computers, when it came, I used to remember, like I come from a place where we had this CPI, the communist government, so we used to write essays on how computers are bad. So we used to do that. So AI may look like that, but eventually we as human beings, as civilization, we have figured out a way to always transform. So it is going to increase GDP of the world, it is going to help things for better, but it's going to transform and disrupt things like what you have never seen before. Including in cybersecurity world, the hackers are going to come in that manner. They are working on AI right now. So if you don't get prepared, we will all of a sudden be flat-footed. So I believe these are two things which you should work on or look at: continuous, the movement of things getting continuous, and AI in a very disruptive manner. And I was on the other side, but I have shifted my side.
I think that's very good, because two things, right? Continuous. I completely agree. We were content and audit, we are continuous audit, and I believe your VAPT, all of has to know that. And that's a wake-up call, right? When you say that AI, we've seen a difference between Web 3.0. ChatGPT, Bard is coming up, right? So we see everyday advent of new tools, right? And I'm sure coding today, right? There is no science. You can have a website, you can have an application up and running in an hour with you not knowing even single line of code, right? So we understand that very well. I think you want to say something on that.
Yes, so I would agree and disagree to one of the points that will AI replace humans or not, because we have heard of similar talks in 1990s and when we were at the advent of computers, that computers will reduce the number of workforce and it will replace so many clerical jobs and manual jobs. But today, even in today's world where everything is computerized, we are only seeing a number of new jobs and new openings coming up. I'm not saying that it's not something AI cannot happen. The only thing that I would say that we should be positioning the use of AI a little bit differently. Rather than saying AI will replace the jobs, we should say that AI will help us shift the jobs. The spectrum in which, or the way in which we are currently engaging ourselves, those things will change. We will not have to worry about the commodity stuff. We will then have to work on the transformational stuff, and our time will be free to focus on those other things. And the jobs will shift from just doing management work. Right now, when I say management, don't take me wrong. Let's say in cybersecurity industry, right now what's happening is that it's getting your time, and we are doing less of security work. Full management part will be taken care of, so that we don't have to focus on it, and then we will be able to focus on deriving the value out of these things, the original intent for which we purchase these products or we went ahead with this initiative. So that job shifting will change, and that is what I feel that we should not say it will replace jobs. Let's not create that hysteria, because that is not something going to.
I agree with you. This will change. Like for example, in case of like when Flipkart and all came, they took away a lot of jobs at the Kirana stores. But their sons, instead of now in Kirana stores, what they do is they do a delivery or some other thing. So it will get transformed. But what I want to say is, as a technologist, I have never seen earlier in my life before where something can be more intelligent than humans. And this is what I believe, AI is going to become, or has already become, more intelligent than humans in narrow cases. Okay, this is something which I would have never told this. Anyway, I know this is an interesting topic in itself. Just keep an eye, watch out for it. Watch out for it. That's the only thing.
Okay, I take a question. Take a question. Please go ahead. I get the mic.
Initially, I was just going on, but after listening, I believe might not go to the same way which he is saying. Because we know the humans have garbage theory. If we are using our mind, we are growing up. The moment we are using our artificial intelligence, we are not using our mind. So the people stop using mind, and then that God is virtual. It's like a how we use artificial intelligence to the best, but we see ourselves.
No, we're not. I don't know how to spread that too much. But I'm saying just hopefully it serves us. I'll give you one very small interesting story. Like, that this ChatGPT is able to answer all these questions. It has got the complete information of the internet and stuff like that, right? And you know how big Google data centers are to store that. It's like it can kind of take good part of the city if you just take all the data centers. Now imagine how much ChatGPT takes in terms of space. How much of space? Like how many buildings will it take compared to like part of the city Google is taking? Any guess? Okay, only this much. 1 terabyte. So you can take the entire inferencing kind of capability of Google and that kind of thing and store it just into this much. So that's the kind of how disruptive it is. Okay, so it's very, very disruptive. We will hopefully still kind of evolve into something better. So I'm not spreading doom and gloom, but never before something like this has happened. We always, as computer scientists, wanted it to happen. It was never near, but right now it is there. It's not like it's going to happen later. Let me tell you, it is there right now. Already AI is better than humans in many specific areas.
So I think we're on top of the time, right? Before we end, right, there's one question for all of you, right? And your quick answer on that, right? Every time there's a security incident, CISO should be fired. How many of you agree? How many of you don't agree? Let's take a pulse over here, right? How many of you agree that there's an incident, fire the CISO? बाकी सब देखा जाएगा. Should it be so? How many believe should be fired? CISO should be fired? Majority of the scientists are talking this, but I want to hear it from Bikash, from you. Let's say.
So I would say it depends. It depends. I'm serious. Like I have a role of a CEO. I also have a CISO. So if a security incident happens, should I fire or not? The answer is it depends. I'll see whether the CISO is part of the problem or part of the solution. It's a very simple thing. And many times CISOs are part of the problem also, right? So you have to figure that out. Like part of the problem or solution. Solution speaks problem.
Your take on that?
I think that's an occupational hazard, right? I think in a way, you need to have somebody accountable. The reality is that in any organization, if there is a security breach or a failure, and if it is something, we talk about something which creates a big problem to an organization, then the CISO has to take accountability. That is one aspect. If you look at history of cybersecurity events, then you will find that majority of the times, whether they were fired or they resigned, the reality is that the CISOs have changed the moment they have had a security breach. So you have to look at the past to then look at predict the future. So I think you have the answer. But logically speaking, it's not just one person. So, you should not be fired because all of us would like to believe we should not get fired. But the reality is otherwise.
I also say they should not be fired. In fact, if you look at some of the statistics, some of the CISO job openings in US and other matured markets, you would see that the job description says the candidate should have had cybersecurity incident experience. They should have burned their hands and fixed themselves. They should have fallen and picked themselves up, and we need those candidates. So they should not be fired. They should be rather given more. You should be rather seeing that how can we better leverage that experience, and that is the reason I feel they should not be fired. Their experience should be used.
I think, but thank you all for hearing us out. And I think I can't thank even our panelists. Amazing views that cuts across. It just puts all to the table that yes, it's a vast experience. And it's a privilege to have you with your and thank you all. You all have been a fabulous.
Very interesting and insightful session. So I request you to post your photograph now. Volunteers, can you please come on to the stage?